Thanks to our magnificent brains, most of us live out our lives under the delusion that we are in control. But are our brains truly in control? Makes you think, doesn't it? Engrossed in the thrilling cinematic exploits of their ancestors, the freelance police have had no time to ponder these eternally vexing questions. But in mere moments, they and you will be plunged headfirst into these murky philosophical depths when Sam returns from his ill-timed bathroom break to discover they stole Max's brain.
Max? Little buddy? No.
What happened?
Hey! What happened to Max? Talk!
We don't know! 1 second we were guarding the devil's toy box, then BAM! Out went the lights!
Through a fog of rage, darkness, and raisinets, I tried to remember what Flint Paper told me about interrogating suspects.
Rule number 1, don't let the suspect control the conversation. Get him talking, then surprise him. Interrupt him with a question, or call him a liar, freak him out. And if all else fails, bring little Miss Persuasion out for a stroll.
Actually, I think it was more of a boom, really.
Really?
What are you talking about?
The devil's toy box!
It's a source of horrible, terrible power. And now it's gone! We're doomed! Doomed!
Stop doing that! What else can you tell me?
Well, that's the last thing we remember until you woke us up and started snarling at us.
Yeah, that's the last thing we remember.
Rule number 2, timing is everything. When you hear the suspect lying, that's when you jump in and accuse him.
Yup, I was totally unconscious the whole time. I certainly didn't see anything interesting, no sir.
Now all I can see is his blank, brainless body staring at me, asking me, why?
Okay, you've obviously got some issues to sort out, and we've got an apocalypse to prepare for, so can we go now?
What happened to Max? Talk!
We don't know!
1 second we were guarding the devil's toy box,
Then BAM! Out went the lights!
actually, I think it was more of a boom, really.
Really? Because I distinctly heard it more like a BAM.
You say the lights went out? That light was joy. And it's getting snuffed out all over the city, dragging us all into a sea of blackness.
Can we go? Your gramophides are really bringing us down.
And we're in a doomsday cult.
No, keep talking.
Well, that's the last thing we remember until you woke us up and started snarling at us.
Yeah, that's the last thing we remember. Yup, I was totally unconscious the whole time. I certainly didn't see anything interesting, no siree, but...
Liar!
All right. I came to before Jebediah, just in time to hear the telltale sounds of a brain being removed from a bunny.
Obadiah, why didn't you do anything?
I was afraid. Afraid that he'd remove my brain too.
Who? Who took Max's brain?
It was the space gorilla.
Skunk Ape.
Of course. He must have been released from the penal zone when the toy box was stolen.
I'm so sorry.
Not half as sorry as that brain-stealing space ape's gonna be when I catch up with him.
Rule number 3, mole men are easy. To crack the tough nuts, you'll need information to prove your case. Sometimes you gotta ask around to get the dirt on the doers. Now, go get 'em.
I wrote a mental note to thank Flint at Max's funeral and got ready to squeeze some punks. General Skunk Ape. I should have known. That space ape had wanted Max's brain ever since he found out it was special. Now that special brain was gone, and I was cut loose, drifting in the neon current, hoping for a lucky break. Hello, ugly. You're one of Skunk Ape's goons. Where's your boss? What did he do to my little buddy?
I don't know. I haven't seen General Skunk Ape since you unjustly imprisoned him in the penal zone. I'll never forget his final terrified howl as it echoed across the dimensional boundaries. Anyhow.
Unjustly? Don't make me chortle. When you get right down to it, we all deserve to get tossed into the penal zone. You, me, the guy who delivers your deep dish pizzas, all of us, bubbling over with sin and corruption and...
Is there a point to this, or are you just trying to get me depressed?
Sorry, just thinking out loud. Where were we?
As I was saying, since Skunk Ape's imprisonment, I've been reevaluating my life choices. I've abandoned violence for a career as a science spirit. It's a very fulfilling, low-temperature job, most suited to a space ape of a certain age.
You can't reevaluate your way out of fate, chump. We're all headed for a pine box and a boilerplate eulogy, and you can't change that any more than a tiger can change his pants.
You possess a very depressing worldview.
It comes with the territory when someone cuts out your partner's brain.
But enough about me. You should talk to the rat. Yes, the rat. He certainly seems plugged into the ins and outs of this gloriously filthy metropolis.
Rats? The whole world's full of rats. All of them clawing each other's eyes out to get off this sinking ship called life.
That's quite disturbing and sad. Please stop.
I won't stop until I get the guy who did this to my little buddy. But where's Skunk Ape?
I already told you. I don't know. I haven't... I'll never forget his final terrified howl as it echoed across the dimensional boundaries.
What are you talking about?
Don't you remember when you and your partner defeated my leader, the magnificent General Skunk Ape, by trapping him in the penal zone?
Oh yeah, that. So?
As I was saying, since Skunk Ape's imprisonment, I've been reevaluating my life choices. I've abandoned violence for a career as a science spinner. It's a very fulfilling, low-temperature job, more suited to a space ape of a certain age.
You lie!
No, it's true! I've abandoned a life of violence and conquest for an honest, peaceful job as a sign spinner. See?
Ah, yes. So, where were we?
Enough about me. You should talk to the rat. Yes, the rat. He certainly seems plugged into the ins and outs of this gloriously filthy...
You lie! There is no rat!
Excuse me. Have you seen this city? There's rats everywhere.
But where's Skunk Ape?
I don't... I'll never forget his final terrified howl as it echoed across the dimensional boundaries. Anyhow...
You're lying!
No, I'm not. I haven't seen the General, and I defy anyone to say otherwise.
Go on.
As I was saying, since Skunk have abandoned violence for a career as a science spinner. It's a very fulfilling,
Reevaluating your life choices? What does that even mean?
Skunkapi's defeat made me take a really hard look at myself. Honestly, is there anything more pathetic than a middle-aged space gorilla waving his blaster around the galaxy like some kind of teenager?
How about a dead partner?
The only way to break the cycle was to just walk away. Now I have a wonderful job as a science spinner and a girlfriend in the village, and I don't even have to shoot anyone.
How nice for you.
Enough about me. You should talk to the... Yes, the rat.
Rat? What rat?
Frankie the rat. He traffics in stolen merchandise in tawdry gambling rings.
Where can I find him?
He hangs out on the corner of Veni and Vidi in the Latin Quarter.
Frankie the Rat. The name left a bad taste on my tongue and an itchy sensation in my boxers. Still, there wasn't a rodent more plugged into the bad wiring in the city. Hey, Rat.
Sam, buddy, how's it hanging?
My partner's got a bad case of a missing brain, and someone thinks you might know something about it.
Brain, huh? Well, I did see something unusual and brain-related a little while back.
Spill!
I was given directions to a confused tourist. Poor fella was wandering around in circles, scaring all the kiddies with his umlauts and Tvortisnags and whatnot.
The city's full of lost little lambs, and most of the Bo Peeps are just leading them to the slaughterhouse.
Yeah. You want to hear this story or just try and get me all depressed?
Sorry.
Anyway, I was almost done helping the guy, see? When bam! All of a sudden, this space ape comes barreling down the street, fighting with some other mook. A space ape carrying a brain!
Skunk ape.
I hadn't seen anything that weird since Aunt Jacqueline's vacation slides from Pismo Beach with the jellyfish on the water skis. Anyway.
My partner had a brain once. It wasn't the best brain in the world, and a lot of people said it was chemically imbalanced, but it was his. And now it's gone. Gone like hula hoops and print journalism.
What the heck are you talking about, man?
Sorry, got lost in the moment. Go on.
Like I was saying. So I grabbed the tourist, and we ducked behind a bunch of crates with the other gorilla. We kept our heads down until the fight moved on down the street. And that's all I know about the space ape what took your buddy's brain. No fooling. That's all I know. I don't know no more.
Sure, hide behind your crates and wait for someone else to do something. But one day, the violence in the streets is gonna spill over the gutters and stain your pretty white socks with the blood of the innocents.
Socks? I don't got any socks. I'm a rat.
And don't you forget it.
So now what?
One more time. What do you know about my partner's brain?
It's like I was telling you. I was given direction. Poor fella was wandering around in circles, scaring all the kiddies with his umlauts and Tvortisnags and whatnot.
Where?
Hey, take it easy, big fella. I sent him right over that way, about 2 miles.
Frankie the Rat helping a tourist? It was absurd. Absurd like Max was, back when he had a brain. So imagine my surprise when I found Frankie's tourist wandering around the bad side of town.
Oh! Ah!
Foreign guy, what's your story?
Ooh, an American police shakedown. How thrilling.
Yeah, it's a real honor. Now, what do you know?
Well, about an hour ago, I was getting directions to the museum district from one of your colorful local rats.
And Frankie sent you here?
Yeah.
Dirty lion rat.
You know, back in Europe, I had so many warnings about your country's rats, but this Frankie was so gracious and helpful. Anyhow.
Another lost soul on the highway of life, forced to get directions from the rats at their feet.
Excuse me? I'm afraid I don't understand your gritty American metaphors and allusions. Ausgewählt? I was about to give him a tip for the help, when all of a sudden a Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg erupted in the middle of one of your asphalt fjords. At least I think it was Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. Might have been more of an Ödeler Spokenfreundl affair, but I digress.
A hard rain's coming, pal. And when it comes, you're gonna wish you were only in a Weltraum-Liebwachsauberkrieg.
Your grimness is depressing, but something must be getting lost in a translation. So, as I was saying, after the fight moved on, I discovered that someone had picked my pockets, leaving me empty-handed and ibble-skibbled in a strange land. I left the scene of the crime, carrying nothing but the clothes on my back. And you know what else? I'm starting to think that this isn't actually the museum district. Maybe I am mistaking the friendly rat's direction.
It's a strange land, all right. Strange and dark and twisted and...
Please stop! I'm already ibble-skibbled enough.
Sorry.
De nada. Anything else?
Let's hear your sad little story again, from the top.
Very well. You know, back in Europe, I had so many warnings about your country's rats, but this Frankie was so gracious and helpful. Anyhow.
Museum district?
See, yeah. As a child in Europe, I always dreamt of visiting your city's famous museum district with its Institute of Incomplete Technologies and Hall of Filthy Arts. It's a little more underwhelming than it appeared in my schulbooks. Any Flugen, I was about to give him a tip. At least I think it was Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. Might
Belcher soup call it what now?
Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. My people's word for a stunning battle between a strangely garbed man and an alien space gorilla carrying a brain in a jar. So, where was I? Oh, yes! After the fight moved on, I discovered that someone had picked my pockets, leaving me empty-handed and ibble-skibbled in a strange land. I left the scene of the crime, carrying nothing but the clothes on my back. And you know what else? I'm starting to think that this isn't actually the museum.
What?
Ibble-skibbled. It's a common European word that describes the feeling of mild disorientation combined with nagging doubts about a rat. Honestly, what do they teach you Americans in your schools?
Video poker.
So, what else would you like to know?
Let's hear your
Well, you know, back in Europe, I had so many warnings about your countries.
You lie.
You're right, it was more like 57 minutes ago. Yeah, but you American police are stinklers. Anyhow, I was about to give him at least I think it was Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. Might have been more of an Ödeler Spokenfreundl affair. But
Liar.
Nein, it really was a Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. But more like a kleine Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. But anyway, after the fight moved on, I discovered that someone had picked my pockets, leaving me empty-handed and ibble-skibbled in a strange land. And you know what else? I'm starting to think that this isn't actually the museum.
Liar.
Moi? Lie? How dare you make such an accusation without a shred of proof? When I get back to the hotel, I will report you to the European consulate at once.
Fine.
Fine. Now, where was I? Oh, yes.
Let's hear you.
Very well. You know, back in Europe, I had so many warnings about your country's rats, but this Is that one of your famous American handguns? Fascinating. We don't have any of these in Europe, you know. I was about to give him a tip. At least I think it was Weltraumliebe Wachzauberkrieg. Might have been more of an Ödeler Spokenfreund. Is that one of your famous American handguns? Fascinating. We don't have any of these in Europe, you know. After the fight moved on, I discovered that someone had picked my pockets, leaving me empty-handed and ibble-skibbled in a strange land. And you know what else? I'm starting to think that this is... Is that one of your famous American handguns? Fascinating. Shall I continue? People in this country are so intense.
The tourist seemed like just another victim circling the drain, but I knew there was more to the story. It was time to circle back and flush out the truth.
Frankie, what do you know?
I was given directions to a confused tour.
To the museum district?
Yeah, poor fella was wandering around in circles, scaring all the kiddies with his umlauts and tvortisnaks, and what? Where? Hey, take it easy, big fella. I sent him right over there. Anyway, I was almost done helping. I hadn't seen anything that weird since Aunt Jacqueline's vacation.
A brain? Was it Max's?
How should I know? All I know, it was a brain in a jar, and that crazy space gorilla was holding on to it like it was his best friend in the wild. So anyways, I grabbed the tourist, and that's all I know about the space ape what took your buddy's brain. No
Other gorilla? What other gorilla?
Believe it or not, it was another space ape. He was spinning a sign for some pet store, the poor schlub.
So that dirty punk sign spinner did see Skunk Ape.
So now what?
One more time. What do you...
It's like I was given direct...
To the museum?
Yeah, poor fella was wandering around in circles, scaring all the kiddies with his umlauts and tvort... Hey man, no need to pull out the heavy metal. I'm talking, see? So, like I was saying, I was almost done helping... I hadn't seen anything that weird since Aunt Jacqueline's vacation. Yeah, the gorilla pulled out his gun, just like that. Anyway, so I grabbed the tourist, and that's all I know about the space ape. Yipes! Stop doing that! It ain't good for my angina. So now what?
One more time.
I was given...
To the museum.
Yeah, poor fella was wandering around in circles, scaring all the kiddies with his umlauts.
Don't lie to me, Frankie. I talked to your tourist, and it looks to me like you sent him over to the wrong side of town to get rolled by your rat pack.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But this conversation is over. I ain't saying nothing till I get some legal representation. The nerve of some people, trampling a rat's God-given merengue rights. There ought to be a law or something.
Lawyers and rats. One's a disease-spreading vermin gnawing away at the foundations of society, and the other likes cheese.
That's pretty funny, but I'm still not talking.
Talk!
Are you deaf or something? I ain't talking. I'm pleading the fifth. Maybe even the sixth. Whatever it is, I'm pleading it, and no two-bit copper's gonna stop me.
What are you talking about?
Well, you see, we got a little thing in this country called the Constitution. And... so you've heard of it.
Talk!
Are you deaf? I ain't... Attica! Police brutality!
Stop lying!
Who says I'm lying?
Talk!
Are you deaf? I ain't... The nerve of some people. Trampling a rat...
Do you want a lawyer? Here's an attorney from Smith & Wesson.
Okay, I'll talk. Sheesh. Like you guessed, I gave the tourist directions to the bad side of town, but I was just winding him up, really. They ask me, the schmuck deserved it, acting all high and mighty and European, wearing his fancy socks.
The whole stinking city's wound up, like a...
Do you want me to finish my story, or do you want to go off on another depressing tangent?
I'm not really sure.
Anyway, when the big fight broke out, me, the tourist, and the other gorilla ducked down behind the crate, and I, picked their pockets. The tourist was loaded with high-exchange European stuff, but all the other guy had was funny-looking green cubes.
Sure, hide behind your crates and wait for someone else to do something. But one day, the violence in the streets is gonna spill over the gutters and stain your pretty white socks with the blood of the innocents.
Socks? I don't got any.
Don't you forget it.
Anyway, after the fight moved on, the tourist got a nice souvenir for his trouble, and I skedaddled back here. And that's all I know, honest. Ask anybody. They'll vouch for old Frankie, if they know what's good.
I used to skedaddle before the weight of the sin and debauchery.
Yeah, the world's a dark and miserable place. I get it.
Once more, with...
If you insist, like you guessed, they ask me, the schmuck deserved it, acting all high and mighty and European.
What?
You know, the bad side of town. Hoboville, Flemberg, Broken Corners, that area. Anyway, when the big fight broke out, the tourist was loaded with high exchange European stuff. But all the other guy had was funny-looking green cubes.
Other gorilla? What other gorilla?
Believe it or not, it was another space ape. He was spinning a sign for some pet store, the poor schlub.
Son of that dirty punk sign spinner did say skunk ape.
Anyway, after the fight moved on, and that's all I know, honest. Ask anybody. They'll...
Souvenir?
Yeah, something fell out of the funny hat guy's pocket, and the tourist scooped it up.
What was it?
I don't know, something.
So the tourist didn't leave empty-handed after all.
So what now?
Once more, with...
If you would like you get... Hey, ask me, the schmuck deserved it. Acting all high and mighty. Again with the gun, look! I'm talking, ain't I?
I guess.
Anyway, when the tourist was loaded with high exchange European stuff, but all the other... Yipes! Stop doing that! It ain't good for my angina. Anyway, after the fight... And that's all I know, honest. Ask anybody. I don't mean to criticize, Sam, but the gun thing just ain't as intimidating when you keep pulling it out like that. So now what?
Once more.
If, like you get... Hey, ask me, the schmuck deserved it. Acting all high and mighty.
You're lying! No, wait, you're not. Keep going.
Anyway, when the big fight broke, the tourist was loaded with high exchange European stuff.
You lie!
Hey, Sam, I never lie about my cowardice. I'm really proud of it. Anyway, after the fight, and that's all I know, honest. Ask anybody.
Liar!
No, honest, I came right back here. And then you showed up and started slapping me around. So now what?
Stick around. I may be back.
I shall count the minutes.
Ooh, a repeat performance.
Let's run through it one more time.
As I said about an hour, you know, back in Europe, I had so many warnings about your country's threats, but this...
Hurry it up.
I was about to give him, at least I think it was better than Wachsam.
Then what?
After the fight, you know what else? I'm starting to...
Don't play innocent with me, metric lover. The rat saw you pick up something after the fight. Now spill!
Yeah, it's true. I took a souvenir from the fight. I didn't think anyone would notice. Here.
Norrington? Who the heck is Norrington?
I don't know. Just don't hurt me. You Americans are all animals.
Finally, a clue. Norrington. The name rang fewer bells than a sleigh in July. Fortunately, it didn't need to. Crimetron, do your stuff. What do you mean not found in database?
The Crimetron requires additional clues to make an informed deduction.
Clues? I haven't got time for clues. Max's body is starting to smell differently.
Then maybe you should stop yelling at my girlfriend and start with the clue-finding.
Grrr. The gorilla was lying to me about seeing Skunk Ape. I wondered what else he was lying about. I'm back! Now where's Skunk Ape?
I don't know. I'll never forget his final terrified howl as it echoed. Are you trying to threaten me with that?
Maybe.
You are aware that my ultra-dense space gorilla hide renders me impervious to your puny Earth bullets, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Where were we?
Sent skunk copies, abandoned violence for a career as a science book. Are you trying to threaten me with that?
Maybe.
You are...
Oh yeah, I forgot. Where were we?
Enough of that. Yes, the rat. He certainly seems plugged into the ins and outs of this globe.
Rat? What rat?
Frankie the rat.
Where can I
He hangs.
But where?
I don't know. I'll never forget his final terrified howl as it echoed.
That story ain't gonna wash, Bonzo. Your pal Frankie told me all about how you and he hid from a fight between Skunk Ape and some other guy. Now make with the lip flapping and I better like what I hear.
It's true. A few of your Earth minutes ago, I was spinning my sign for Frankie the Rat and a tourist when General Skunkape came running down the street, chasing after a strangely garbed man. To my everlasting shame, I cowered behind a crate like a common Venusian bonobo as the General and his prey skirmished.
Some days it seems like the whole world is chasing after me, and someone's tied together my shoelaces with regrets and betrayals.
That's pretty sad, but you don't have any shoes.
It's a metaphor.
So anyhow, after the General and the stranger fled the scene, I discovered that he had dropped this. I'm surprised he didn't come back for it, but he appeared to be in something of a hurry. Oh well.
I dropped something once. I think it was my innocence. Then I dropped my compassion. Now I just drop punks.
Is that supposed to be dark? It doesn't make sense.
Sue me. Give me that toy!
No! I need it to get back in General Skunkape's good graces. Once I return this artifact to the General, he'll forgive my temporary abandonment of his goals and welcome me back to his crew with open arms. Oh, how I've come to miss standing at my General's side these past few hours. I wonder if he'll permit me.
I thought you were a sign-spinning pacifist now.
I was, but the sight of the General pummeling that stranger rekindled my hours-dormant lust to conquer the galaxy at his side.
But where's Skunk Ape?
Weren't you paying attention? A few of your Earth. To my everlasting shame, I cowered behind a crate like a
Strangely garbed?
Yes, a man in a faded jacket and a strange hat. He seemed to be carrying a box of some sort. General Skunkape was in hot pursuit. After the General and the stranger fled the scene, I discovered that he had dropped this. I'm surprised he didn't come back for it, but he appeared to be in something of a...
What's that? A brain remover?
I believe it's one of the toys of power that my General has been collecting for the past 25 Crimex.
I knew that. Give me that toy.
No! Once I... Oh, how I've come to miss standing at...
You're lying!
About what?
Give me that toy.
No! Once I reach... Oh, how I've come to miss standing at my General's side these past few hours.
Huh. You're fooling yourself, kid.
What are you talking about?
The only thing Skunk Ape's gonna welcome you with is a fistful of phasers. You can't go home again. You can't even get on the porch. You've tasted the apple, peed in the pool, bitten the hand that rocks the cradle. You're a sign spinner to him now, and that's all you're ever gonna be.
You're right. It's hopeless. No matter what I do now, I'll never soar through the galaxy at my General's side ever again.
And I hate to tell you, but you're not a very good sign spinner either. I hated to see a grown gorilla cry, so I got in the car and looked for another lost soul to join me as I gazed into the abyss. Last time we saw the rhinoplasty toy, Max's special brain used it to turn into a bazooka. Now it was gonna lead me to the guy who stole that special brain. It wasn't exactly ironic, but I didn't care. Okay, Crimetron, this is your last chance before I start looking for an upgrade. Come on, you obsolete hunk of junk. Talk! Where's Skunk Ape?
Sam, no!
Stop holding out on me!
Get away from her, you brute.
Finally.
Audiences across the country say, you're a monster, Sam.
What have you become?
The Museum of Mostly Natural History, the tarnished jewel of the city's once thriving museum district. Max and I always meant to visit, but we'd never gotten around to it. Now we were finally going to take in its thrilling and dubiously educational displays with a vengeance. All right, Skunk Ape, it's time to pay the piper, plus tax and applicable service fees.